She had come only to visit her young brother. It's just a quick stop, a warm meal, a few laughs, the kind of ordinary evening that felt safe. But then the first gunshot shattered the calm, and the base erupted into chaos. Soldiers screamed, alarms blared, and the air filled with smoke and dust. Her brother's face flashed in her mind, terrified and frozen. She thought she'd never see him again. She was wrong. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. She had left the military months ago. A sniper with a reputation that made commanders nod with respect and enemies whispered her name with fear. She wasn't supposed to be here. Not today. Not like this. Yet, as the base's perimeter was torn apart, something inside her snapped into place old instincts, rising like a tide. The first blast came from the west gate. Attackers moved with brutal precision like they had rehearsed this moment 100 times. Soldiers tried to respond, but the enemy was already inside. The smell of burning rubber mixed with the metallic sting of blood. She crouched behind a supply crate, her hands trembling despite her training. Her brother's voice echoed in her memory, laughing, careless, safe. Now he was neither. Her mind raced. She saw the enemy's silhouettes through the haze, their movements smooth and deadly. She could feel the wind shifting, hear the distant rumble of gunfire. Her heart hammered. The base was collapsing. And yet, she knew exactly what to do. She lifted her rifle. She remembered the long nights in the desert, the silence of the sniper's world, the patient waiting. She remembered the moment her instructor told her, "A sniper doesn't kill the enemy. Oh, a sniper kills the moment the enemy thinks they're safe." The first shot rang out, sharp and decisive. The attacker went down instantly, his body collapsing like a puppet whose strings had been cut. For a moment, everything stopped. The chaos froze in place, as if the entire base had held its breath. Then the whispers began. "Who's shooting? Where did she come from? She's a ghost." She felt the weight of every eye on her, even though no one knew her face. Soldiers started to move more confidently, pushing forward as if her bullets had given them permission to fight back. She wasn't a legend anymore. She was a lifeline. The enemy pressed on, relentless. They were close now, moving toward the central command tower where her brother was stationed. Watched him through the haze, his body tense, his eyes wide, trying to understand what was happening. He didn't know she was here, didn't know she had become the one force standing between him and death. Her breath caught. A group of attackers burst through a nearby corridor, and a soldier in front of them stumbled, too close to her line of fire. Her finger tightened around the trigger, but then she hesitated. The moral dilemma hit her like a physical blow. If she fired, she risked hitting one of her own. If she didn't, the enemy would advance. She exhaled slowly, forced herself to stay calm, and adjusted her aim with surgical precision. The shot went true, and the enemy fell. The soldier behind cover didn't even realize how close he had come to death. She felt a sudden surge of guilt, then relief. She had chosen the right life over the wrong death. She had chosen the only path she could. Battle continued, but the tide was shifting. Every shot she took was a message. Not today. Fast. The sun dipped lower. The dust in the air turned golden. The base began to rally. Soldiers formed ranks and pushed the attackers back. It was like watching a storm break, the clouds finally moving away to reveal the sky. And then the moment came that changed everything. Her brother was trapped. The enemy had surrounded the command tower. He was pinned down, shouting for help, his voice cracking with fear. She could see him through the broken window, his hands raised, begging for someone to come for him. Her heart squeezed, her mind screamed. She could either stay hidden and survive, or step into the open and save him. She chose him. She stood up, exposing herself to the chaos, and began to fire in a rhythm that felt like prayer. Her shots struck with perfect timing, each one finding its mark. The enemy faltered, their confidence shaken by the sudden surge of accurate fire. The soldiers in the command tower saw her bravery. They saw her determination. They saw the truth that this woman was not just a visitor. She was a protector. A roar rose from the base as the attackers finally began to retreat. The defenders surged forward, pushing the enemy out of the perimeter. And in the middle of it all, her brother ran to her, eyes filled with tears and gratitude. He hugged her tightly, shaking. "I thought you were gone," he whispered. She held him and whispered back, "I'm here. I'm here now." Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. As the smoke cleared and the base began to rebuild, she looked out over the ground where the battle had raged. The night was quiet again. The same base that had been under attack now stood strong, alive, and protected. And she realized something simple, something true. Courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent. Sometimes it's unseen. But it's always there when you need it most. If this story moved you, comment below and share where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe to Whispered Words for more real mission stories that remind us what bravery really looks like.